Is the rise of individualism a global phenomenon? Our analysis of data across 51 years and 78 countries suggests that the answer is yes. 34 out of 41 countries showed a substantial rise in individualistic practices, as said by Henry Santos. Today I'll be talking about, hi, I'm Leah Rivera, and today I'll be talking about individualism's effect on self-confidence. The question being asked is, to what extent has individualism effect on self-confidence affected young adults in the United States during the 21st century? And the argument in response is, individualism's effect on self-confidence has positively affected young adults in the United States during the 21st century. Individualism is defined as a social theory favoring freedom of action for individuals over collective or state control. This concept has a major effect on different aspects of people's everyday lives, so the sudden uprise is very understandable. First, we have individualism in connection to appearance. In order to have a sense of dependence in one's appearance, self-confidence is needed. As said by Rachel Monroe, fashion brands have always played on our aspirations and insecurities, and on the seemingly innate desire to express ourselves through our clothing. The whole concept of clothing that is trending touches on the subject of group mindset, because it starts off with a group of people liking a certain type of clothes, therefore they're obviously going to make it more trendy. So and not necessarily everyone likes that type of clothing, but because everyone's doing it, they feel the need, they have to do it too to fit in, which completely disregards the concept of individualism. But as one starts to find their own style and stop worrying about what others think, their self-confidence will increase, because they start to find themselves as a person. As presented in this chart, the largest influences on youth clothing style and brand decision, these are all factors that influence the way we dress. And since these are all factors that influence the way we dress, you could say that we are not technically dressing for us, we're just dressing to fit in, and, well, not fitting is just, not thinking you fit in destroys your self-confidence. Now onto individualism in academics. No independent studying and a lack of preparation for the classroom result in self-confidence declining in an academic setting. In this chart, we see that self-confidence is a mediator for academic performance, and we could say that studying and doing your homework will help boost your self-confidence in the class, as when the teacher is doing lectures and asking questions, you're gonna feel prepared enough to answer the question correctly in a confident way. And this would just overall make you feel prepared and do better on tests and assignments, which just help you do better academic-wise. And lastly, we have individualism with occupation, and having great amount of self-confidence and trust in your own decisions is needed to strive in the work industry. As said by Stephen Miller, self-employed individuals would seem to embody a striking form of individualism, creating work environments wherein, from their own viewpoints, self-set goals make or break their employment. A big part of individualism in the work industries are self-employed workers, as they tend to work 2 times harder because they have to do it on their own. So the amount of self-confidence needed is very important, as they have to have full trust in their own decisions and abilities to believe that they can be successful in their career. In this chart, the average annual income for all workers and self-employed workers, we see self-employed workers in the blue and the all workers in the orange, and we could tell that self-employed workers make more money overall. However, many people could argue that the increase in individualism will result in a lack of useful connections. Nicholas Sorensen and Daphna Oyserman said that within a collective perspective, individuals can only be understood within the context of groups they belong and in terms of their connections with particular others. And yeah, while people use people use these connections to get some type of job or get into some type of program or school. The people that usually have these connections are high status people or people that are doing really well economically, while there's a whole bunch of other people who aren't in that same level of like economic wise, so they just don't have these opportunities everyone else has. So they need to work themselves and work by themselves to be successful. Is Mara excited? Any questions?
I do have 2 questions for you. How valid and reliable were the sources that you use, and then how do you know they were?
The sources I use are very reliable because I use search engines like the Valencia Library and it's a college searching page, I guess. So they're all peer reviewed and all that. So they're all like academic journals. And I also use EBSCO, which is provided by College Board, and they're all academic peer reviewed journals.
Okay, and what advice would you have for other researchers who consider this topic in the future?
If someone else is gonna research this topic, I would tell them to start more broadly. Like, I went into looking for individualism, things like that directly affect individualism. So I started more like specific, like looking for specific things. So it took me a longer time to like find the evidence that I wanted. But then when I found out that I wasn't gonna get the evidence I wanted, I started looking for individualism as a whole or collectivism. So in those papers, while reading those papers, I found like that people like do their research, they found like different aspects that influence individualism. So I went from there, getting those topics, and then looking and making my own research on those topics.